Hey guys, this is Jim Fuge, and this is guitarbyjimi.com. And in today's free video, I'm going to teach the other parts to Till There Was You by the Beatles version of that song. Obviously I always have a few things to say, especially when it comes to the Beatles, but this is for a guy, a listener, fellow guitar player, subscriber, customer, whatever you want to call it. His name is Roger, I believe. Roger asked me to, he loved the Till There Was You solo that I did. Thank you very much, by the way. And he said, hey, can you show the other guitar parts, everything that's going on, and the little riffs by George? So I said, yeah, sure, I'll get to it. I've just been a little backed up. I was finishing some Deep Purple, which is no easy task. So I said, I put it on the list, and now I'm finally getting back to it. So so this is for you, Roger. So the first thing I want to say is actually, I'm surprised that my Till There Was You video got so many hits and thumbs up. Thank you very much. I just figured my audience was rockers only kind of thing and only wanted to do heavier stuff, so I'm really impressed and happy about that because a good song is a good song, right? It doesn't have to be heavy to be good. So that's great. Anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed the solo. And now, so let's talk about what Lennon, I'm going to do also Lennon, which this guy Roger didn't ask for, but I'm going to throw that in there too. I think he just wanted George's riffs. So I want to show all the chords to this song, show them right, because I see a lot of people get this wrong too. So what's funny is on the background of this song, and believe me, I'm looking at the internet, I had to remind myself when it was written. I think it's 1957 by Meredith Willson or something like that is his name, for a Broadway play, right? It's from 1957 or something like that, right? The Music Man, I believe. So if you actually go back and Google it, listen to the original version, man, it's very different. So the Beatles did a really cool version of this, actually. And if you're a Beatle nut like me, this actually had a lot to do with them getting an audition with EMI because, it showed like a soft side to them and a side that they could be doing very accomplished things. And I think George Martin was very impressed with George Harrison's lead break on this. So all these little things, and Paul's vocal, of course, and then Lennon's guitar playing on this, his rhythm too. So, like any song that the Beatles do, even if it's a copy, there's always so much going on, and they make it sound simple, and this song is no exception. So, what I think I should do first is let me just show Lennon's part, so at least you can get the chords right to this thing, because that's obviously always the foundation of a song, right? So, so we're in the key of F, and I think they're using classical guitars, right? So this is a steel string, so anyway, so it's F, F sharp diminished, or E flat or A or C diminished, right? G minor, dun, 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 G minor, and then C ninth. Now, just little tricks for you here, okay, to remember. Every time you go to C in this song, it's always C ninth. I believe that is true. I believe that is true. I was trying to think of this before I put the video camera on. Anytime you go to C, it's never C, it's never C7, it's always C ninth, okay? And I think the same is true for D. But let's do one at a time. C is definitely always C ninth. So, dun, 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 okay. There were bells, right? Then now half, twice as long. There were bells on a hill, right? But I never B flat minor, right? Okay. So that the part I did before is just the intro. No, I never F. Then you're going to do A minor, A flat minor, G minor, but like this, because this is important to point out, right? This is old style playing too. Okay, and actually he doesn't get the E string, and it's just, you could do it like this if you want, if you can just be careful about it. He only really gets the E, the G and the B string in, okay? And then by the time you land to G minor, you just go all together. So, okay, you don't want to get mixed up and go. It's just when you're on G minor, you're already that's it. Okay, so just these two chords. It's, quick playing, man. There's the C again. C ninth. Till there was you, right? So one more time, the verse. There were bells on an F sharp diminished, but I G minor, heard them B flat minor, no I F. Till there was you, right? And then so now a little quick thing, G minor, again C ninth. Every time you hit C, it's always C ninth, just so you know. Okay, so just a little thing in between that G minor and C ninth. second verse. Okay, so that's that. So now one little thing about Lennon. Okay, the first verse. Let's go back to the first verse in a minute. The bells on a hill. Okay, now just the first verse, he stays right there on that diminished. The second verse and onward, he always slides up with the diminished. There are birds in the sky, but I never. Right, and I'll get to it later. But the very last verse, he goes to the next one too. Just so you know, so listen to it. It's pretty cool. These little things, man. The Beatles. So every verse after the first one, he's always doing some slide up with the diminished, because every what do you call it? Step and a half of diminished is the same chord, right? Because it's all the same notes. That's why I say this is F sharp diminished, C diminished, A diminished, or E flat. Okay, whatever one you want to call it. I mean, you could say it's E flat because it's in the bass, but it doesn't really matter, right? Okay, and then they're all the same chord. If you haven't known that, hopefully you know that already. Same thing is true for augmented. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Mathematically, except they go a step, 2 steps up. The same augmented is. You hear the same chord. It's the same notes if you look at the notes. So back to the song. Second verse. There were birds in the sky. That little thing, right? But I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them. Gotta be quick there. See that? I did it up to speed. Never saw them. You could do that if you want. Less chance of hitting an E string. Till there was you. Okay, now we're into the middle 8, so then there's an F9. Then there was B flat, right? Okay, B flat minor. And wonderful F roses, they D9 for me. Okay, G minor, sweet, come down, F sharp. I can't remember the name of that chord. Major minor, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it'll come back to me. This is kind of like the chord, let me stop for a minute, and then G7 is next. Fragrant meadows. Okay, so this is like the chord, forget the G7 for a minute, where you go, like, you know, Michelle, you know, kind of like that, you know. One of those very common chord changes, but then it goes to G7, which is cool, it's kind of not expected. Okay, let's do it again. The middle 8. Music and little and wonderful roses, they tell me in sweet fragrant meadows. Great chord change. C9 of tone. I told you every time you go to C, it's C9 and A flat augmented. Nice little lead-in chord. Augmenteds are lead-in chords. Augment means to raise, right? Go up, and it's resolve into the F. There was love, right? Hold on. The diminished are like the scary chords, right? Augmenteds are leading chords. There was love. Next verse. All around. Don't forget to come up to the next diminished. But I never, same thing. Saw it ringing. No, I never saw them at all. Till there was you. That a little thing here. The G minor to C9 again. Now the lead break. Now. So what Lennon's doing is the same, you know, it's the same verse chords, but Lennon doubles the time now because he was doing, right? He was doing this, but now he's going. So he's going 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then he's doing this with George. So it's the same thing, you know. George is going. Let's, you know, not worry about that for a minute. This is Lennon. Then this chord, which I showed in my other video, the F sharp 7/9, flat 5, right? Then back to F. Dun, dun, dun. George is finishing his lead break. Then F9. That's the chord before the middle 8, right? So one time again, the lead break. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta be quick, man. Beatles were quick. Okay, so then there was B flat music. Back to the middle eight. And wonderful roses, they sent me in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn. And you, there was nothing there all around. But I listened for that last diminishment. He does it 3 times up. But I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it till there was you to stay in the F, right? Great chords, and I said this in the other video. C E C. There was you. So those last chords, C E C. There was F. And it's actually C sharp 7th. You can hear the B note, then F, then F major 7, and done. So there's a lot of cool stuff in there from Lennon, man. So listen to, you'll notice when George does his solo that things like pick up, you know, that's Lennon picking up the rhythm, doubling it. Great, huh? So now, hopefully you're with me. So those are the correct chords to the song. I see a lot of people get it wrong. I see a lot of people hit C7 a lot. It's always C9. Okay? And when it's, you know, before the lead break, excuse me, before the middle 8, it's always F9. It's not F7. There's a lot of 9s in this song. Okay? Old time, it's from 57 kind of vibe, right? So that's that. So hopefully you got all the chords right. And all the little nuances that Lennon does. Again, the very first time, there were bells on a hill, right? No jump up on the diminished. Second verse onwards always is. The bell on a hill, right? So, and then the very last verse, which he does on, what do you call that song? Girl? Okay. Or what am I thinking of? No, Michelle. I'm sorry, Michelle. I'm thinking of Rubber Soul. Michelle. He does at the very end, right? Using capos, but so anyway, so that's a little thing that Lennon did this later in life too. So that's the rhythm guitar. Now the reason why I'm going out of my way to mention this thing that Lennon does that just jump up thing with the diminished is because it's easy, and I've listened to this many times. I see people say that this is Harrison doing this, and I really don't hear it that way. I got to be honest with you. Harrison is not doing that. I'm pretty sure that 99.9% that's Lennon doing it. Now it's hard because in '63 when this album came out, you know, I think it was only 2-track, right? So I can't, even if you listen to the left or the right side, you hear all the same stuff. So it's really hard to separate the guitar tracks. You just have to keep listening to it. Unfortunately, you have to just keep listening to it and say, okay, you know, just try and hone in on Lennon's guitar for a minute. And is Harrison doing any of this jumping up? I don't think it is. What's funny is, though, Harrison's riffs, and the reason why I'm going out of my way to say this is because Harrison's riffs with Lennon jumping up like this makes it sound like Harrison's jumping up. But I'm pretty sure, 99.9%, that he's not jumping up. It's just that you're catching it on the tail end of Harrison's riff is what Lennon's doing on the chords. Pretty cool, right? So it'll make sense in a minute. So let me show you what Harrison's doing. So anyway, so it starts off right. He's just doing like broken chords, like arpeggios, you know. Okay, so F, C, A, then the diminished, you know, so F sharp, then G minor, D, B flat, G, C, right? By then, Lennon is already, well, not in the beginning, but okay, but in the verse, there were bells on a hill. But you don't really hear Harrison going, I mean, I don't hear him doing that. If you want to do it, that's fine. I hear Lennon being the guy doing that. So that's where, like, a lot of people say Harrison is doing. I mean, I just hear, but it doesn't, you know, I guess it doesn't really matter that much, because if you put your fingers here, you'll be fine. But I'm just saying exactly how I hear it. There were bells on a hill, right? I mean, you could do it if you want, but I never. So again, you're just doing arpeggios. Right? But this is, when you get to the G minor, he quiets it down a lot. Then B flat minor. Okay? So he's just really doing arpeggios while Lennon's holding the rhythm. There were bells on a hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard till there was you. Little riff there. So slide him from a F to a G, B flat, G, C, while Lennon's going dun 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 dun. See, it's good to always know the chords going on behind you. There were birds, same thing, in the sky, but I never. When you do the G minor and the B flat minor, when you do the G minor, it's a lot quieter actually. Now, did the guys in the mix lower George every time that part came up? I don't know. Did it conflict with the vocals too much? I don't know. So just, but if you listen to it, it's much harder to hear the G minor than it is than this. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. Now, there's a little riff that George does right here before the middle eight. I tell you, it's very strange. The phrasing is really strange. Never saw them at all till there was you. Till there was 1, 2, 3, and. On the and beat after 3, I mean, it's just really strange phrasing. Till there was 1, 2, 3. That's what he's doing. An A note, then C, F. Saw them at all till there was 1, 2, 3. Strange. Listen to it. The A note comes out, and it comes out in a really weird spot. And I'm sure he did it on purpose. So just till there was you. Really strange. And there was music and wonderful roses. They go over the chords again. In sweet, fragrant meadows. Oh no. Sorry, allergies. Okay, there was love. Okay, so this riff is F, E, A, D. I tell you, I don't hear that slide up. I got to be honest with you. I think he drops his fingers and just puts the F sharp. So now, you're probably saying, but wait a minute, Jimmy, isn't it? It is the second time around. The first time around is it's A. It's not C. So listen to it carefully. You can never take anything for granted with these guys. But I never. Back to that stuff. No, I never saw it till there was you. Now the lead break, which we know, right? I might as well do it, right? Cannot enjoy it. I tell you, it's fast playing, man. Okay. But that's on the other video. That's great, isn't it? It's a great lead break, man. So, you know, again, Lennon doubles up the time, too, which makes it sound kind of snappy, you know, and flamenco-ish kind of vibe, you know. Now Harrison goes. He's holding that. It's quick, man. And then jump into that crazy chord. Boom, 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 boom. So you can see where you're at. Okay, so that's that, up to that part. Music and wonderful roses, they tell me it's sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn. And now, the last time there was love. C, right? All around. Now then it goes. Listen for that third diminished there. But I never. Sorry, it's all the ringing. No, I never saw it till there was you. That's about it, right? Well, you know the other part was on the other video. Great, right? So George does a straight C sharp there, but Lennon is going, you can hear the B note. Because that's a nice little lead in to the chord, the root chord again, right? So, you know, from the top, George is, you know, intro part. There were bells on a hill, but I never had the ring. No, I never heard it till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them. Okay, you get the idea? I never saw them till there was you. Excuse me. There was you, 2, 3, and a little hesitation. These two notes are together. Crazy. Then there was music and wonderful roses. They tell me in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn. And you, there was love. Back to this. Song singing. Though I never saw the town till there was you. Once again, I couldn't resist. I hope I didn't mess it up. It's a quick lead break. And when the roses, they tell me in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn. And you. Now the riff is a little different. There was love. There's the C note, right? You can listen to it all around. But I never saw it singing. Sorry, but I never saw it at all till there was you. And that's it. Gotta get that little thing in there. There was you. I love that riff. What a great, that's a really great version of that song, man. I mean, it's a great song, right? Great song's a great song. The element of the song is there. If you listen to the original version, it's a beautiful song. But the Beatles snazzed it up a little bit, I would say, wouldn't you? And a beautiful vocal by Paul, of course, but it just goes to show how tight they were, you know? I mean, John's rhythm is just great. Paul keeping the bottom in there, and George's guitar work is outstanding, and that was probably, like I said, one of the things that impressed George Martin to get them into EMI, Parlophone, whatever. So that's Till There Was You. Roger, that's for you, man, and everybody else, and I hope you've enjoyed this lesson as much as I've enjoyed teaching it. Again, you know, don't forget, you know, George is doing all those little riffs throughout the song, just like he does on a lot of songs. Never to be taken for granted, you know. He's always got little tricks, but you know what? They add always add texture to the song. Well, these little things that Harrison always did throughout all the Beatles songs, man. They always add a lot of texture. If you had the control board for the Beatles, and you said, okay, take George out on every song. Wow, man, you'd hear a lot. That song would be a lot different. That's a good way to look at it. The song would be a lot different if you took out George's part in every Beatles song that ever existed. Think about that, right? Because he adds a lot of dimension with these little things that he throws in, man. Like I said, I'm not sure if he's underrated, but I guess, you know, some people just think, oh, well, he was part of the Beatles, but George was one of the best guitar players in the world. Come on. He was so tasty, and he was so accomplished. But I said that in the other Till There Was You video, so I was just going to say it again. I mean, I'm a Beatle guy. Come on, man, it's part of the law for me. But George is he's such a great player. Learned so much from him. He was one of my favorite guitar players growing up. Still is. Anyway, so you can see that, you know, what Lennon is doing too. You know, George is doing a lot of broken stuff, arpeggio kind of stuff, little riffs in between. That's primarily what he's doing. And then John is, you can see all the correct chords of the song, and then you can see how John is playing it. And then what's cool is, like I said before, how he steps up the rhythm on the lead break, Lennon, how he steps up the rhythm like that with that little thing that he's doing. It's just cool. And then he's got always jumping those diminished to keep it interesting. So, and just great chords anyway, right? So, I mean, I don't think they're the exact chords that was on the original record. I think they snazz them up a little bit, you know. You know what I mean? I listened to the original record. I mean, a lot of the elements are there, but I think they snazz them up, snazz it up a little bit, based on how they arranged it. So, which is kind of cool what they did. So, anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this lesson as much as I've enjoyed teaching it. And I appreciate all the thumbs up over there and spreading the word. I'm getting a lot of emails from people. And people are buying a lot of videos on my website, and I really appreciate that. And, you know, I go through a lot of trouble for every video, man. I don't rush anything. I like to really teach and teach stuff right. And hopefully you've learned something, I hope, with some of these videos, and make you a better player, right? A better musician, just pointing out things that maybe you never heard before, like the little things that Lennon's doing, too. So I'm Jim Fuge. This is guitarbyjimi.com. And thanks for listening, everybody. If you like, give me a thumbs up and spread the word and all that good stuff. And I'll see everybody on the next video. Okay. Thanks, guys, and rock on.